All right. So I think a couple of people might be on this confused because I sent the email out to everybody. So this is just for the 2009 Nice team. You're more than welcome to stay on, but the information is just for that Nice team. So if you're on and not on that team, then by all means jump off. If you want to see the information, then you're more than welcome to. So really, I'm just going to run through the philosophy and team expectations. But I wanted to open up to questions afterwards, but also just get a chance to speak to you all before the season started. This is the first time for a while I've had the chance to really set up and start a team properly or take over a team properly. So I'm kind of excited to be able to do all this well in advance and get this out to you. The way I'm looking at this right now is it's going to be 2 or 3 years where I'm coaching this team. And we're going to do everything as well and as properly as we can do to make the kids as strong as possible soccer players, push them as far as we can to be the best players they can be. Again, it's not hard and fast that it's going to be 2 or 3 years, but generally what we've been doing lately and what we've been seeing is 2 or more years is probably where we want to get to with the amount of time a coach plays with a team. I'm just going to run through this. Make sure you mute your speakers, especially for dogs. All right, so this is set up for 11v11 teams, mostly because of the philosophies for everybody. But if you've had a look through it, the positioning's based on 11v11 teams. So I'm going to whiz through it as quick as possible. Expectations are the big thing. There we go. So my philosophy. I believe in developing kids all the way through, even kids that are playing with me now who are juniors, seniors in high school. I believe they can continue to get better. And that's my job to kind of continue to train them with a focus on them improving. I'm going to read this word for word just because it's kind of important, but I believe that development happens at different rates and times depending on many factors. The desire to develop and compete comes from within each athlete individually and to come to the forefront at different times for each of them. So again, I know it's going to come at different times. Some people are going to be really tall at this point and really physically strong, and some people are going to be smaller. Some people that's going to change. I've seen players that didn't make travel teams at U12 end up playing at D1 colleges. So I definitely am not discounting anybody. And if you're the best player on the team, or somebody that's might think they're struggling right now on the team, you've got 3 years of training and areas to improve. So that's the way I look at that one as much as possible. The areas I focus on are technical ability. So most practices will have a technical component where we spend time touching the ball. Confidence under pressure, which is our mental side of the game. Decision making and understanding, which is tactical, by allowing the players to be in pressure situations as often as possible. So a lot of it will be game-like situations, smaller microcosms of the game where we'll be playing, but again, maybe different things that we're working on within that. The fourth pillar of the game, physical, comes from within training and games or athletes working on other areas away from practice. So you very, very rarely see a team I coach running laps or sprinting up and down the field to get fitness. I try and make my practices as intense as possible. And depending on the team, that can be extremely intense. And, that hour and 15 hour and a half practice is really what they need they should be kind of trained at the end of it. If we do it right. That competition also comes from within teams. And I know this team from pretty well from watching John coach them and play. I know it's a very competitive team, which is one of the things I'm really enjoying about the fact that I'm going to take it over. So each athlete and team has a recipe for development that works. And my job is to help the players find which one suits them. I want every player to be the best player I have ever coached. And the goal is to keep that player in the program and develop them rather than recruiting kids from outside their place. So again, my ideal and what I'm trying to do is trying to find out what works to help you become the best soccer player you can possibly be. How do we develop you? How do we get you to do that? And if you're struggling, we're going to work on you to try and make sure that works. If you're doing really well, we're going to leave you and try and push you to do it as much as you can. But again, I'm not here to bring kids in from other programs. We're not here to try and recruit kids in and move kids off. We want the players in our program to stay with us, to take you through to U18, to get you into college, to get you through high school, and and really build up the players to be the best they can possibly be. That's my philosophy. It is the philosophy of the club, which I have a strong. I'm able to put quite a lot of input into, and it's kind of the way we're doing it. Again, since we started the club, I'd love to have a team go from U9 all the way through to U18 with the majority there. Haven't done it yet, but we're getting closer and closer to do that. Athletes will be encouraged to be the best version of themselves by using guided discovery and encouraging risk taking, while using my experience in the game to steer them in the direction I think will help them succeed. My teams and I will always do all we can to win a game and any competition we're in. Rather than our success being measured by wins and losses, I consider players' enjoyment and improvement as a barometer for success. So again, I like to win. I want to get that straight. I don't like to lose. We're going to do everything we can every time to play attacking soccer that can help us win. But at the end of the day, if we lose a game to a team that's better than us, I'm not going to be upset. If we play well and we do the things that we've been working on and what we want to do, and we lose to a better team, then that's fine. If we lose to a weaker team and we don't play well, then that's when, I might get a little bit more frustrated. And again, success is based on where the players end up, not where we are midway through the season, not where we are at the start of the season, not where we are towards the end of the season. It's where they end up when I finish coaching them, and they go to somewhere else, or if they go to a high school team, and how well they do to that. And again, we've had a pretty successful few years of getting kids into good high schools in the last few years. Before that, I had a pretty good record of getting kids into good colleges as well. So, player culture. This is a big one for the players, and I see that a few of you are on. So, each player is responsible for bringing a competitive attitude and will to win to every team event. The will to win and desire to develop has to come from within the player, not the coach or the parents, for a team to truly be the best it can be. I do not expect to coach effort or have to discuss focused behavior within teams, as I believe that players that want to be the best they can be will do that by themselves, as well as holding teammates to the same standard. Each player is an individual and should embrace what makes them different, while also knowing they're part of a team that needs to pull in the same direction to be successful. So, I mean, I basically said it all, but it really is important that the will to work hard, the will to win, the will to develop and to be the best you can comes from within the players. Again, some of the teams I've coached, the most successful ones, I haven't had to ever speak to them about the effort, about working harder, about coming back from a drinks break quicker, about focus, because one, the majority of them are doing it, and two, there's normally a player there that's like, come on, let's go, and they're kind of the driving factor behind it. So I know some people, I think I've had a conversation with a couple of people and they're like, I really want you to push my daughter. I'll push you. You definitely will be pushed in every practice. I do it by challenging you, not by yelling at you and making you go harder and not expecting more. So I would like you to be challenged in every practice, and within that, I want the players to go as hard as they possibly can every single time. Code of conduct. We can go through this a little bit more, but you guys can read this. Bit in there about parents more than anything, but the time, the game time, and all that kind of stuff. I'll go through that. This is the same as John has been doing. If you played for John before, so which I think the majority of you have. So arrive for all practice 15 minutes before the scheduled time, dress appropriately. Players will be deducted 1/4 of a game if a practice is missed in the week leading up to a game, half if both practices are missed. And again, I'm not against you doing other sports, but we do need to start holding people accountable for if they're going to miss. And again, I know John's done this, so it shouldn't be too much of a shock for you guys. Arrive for all games 45 minutes before the scheduled kickoff. This is a big one for me. We're gonna warm up for at least 30 minutes. By the time you've got there, got your shoes on, somebody needs to go to the bathroom, haven't seen each other for a couple of days, had a chat, taking your earrings off, that's going to be 30 minutes. So that 15 minutes is the kids' time. I'll be hopefully on time and setting up myself. I do occasionally get stuck in traffic and get stuck running between things. But then that 30 minutes is when we start warm up and we go from there. So I have kind of built in a 15-minute cushion for the girls to get everything out of the way that they need to get out so they're ready to focus. If for any reason you cannot attend a practice or game, please contact the coaches and manager via email. Again, give as much notice as we possibly can. If I know, I like to plan my sessions. at least a day off. So the more time I can plan for numbers, the easier it makes it for me. I think one of the big parts of coaching is actually being flexible with the numbers and being able to move your session along to the number of players you have. So it's not essential for my planning, but it is kind of common courtesy to let us know if you can't make it. Take responsibility for your development as a player. Seek to improve your performance at every opportunity. Again, we've kind of talked about that. You're in charge of this as players. You're driving the bus on this. If you want to get better and you put the time in, we've got plenty of opportunities for you to play and train and touch the ball. So it really is down to you guys to drive yourselves forward. Cooperate with your coach, teammates, and referees. Without officials, you would not have a game. Again, I've never really had a problem with people not cooperating with me. Teammates and referees are a little bit different. Again, the team construct is essential to us. So something we need to kind of get working on right away. Referees is a no-brainer, that one. If anybody shouts at a referee, they're coming off the field. If a parent shouts at a referee, the kid's coming off the field. Referees are there to try and keep the game moving. A lot of them are not much older than the players themselves. Referees are going to make mistakes. I'm going to make a mistake as a coach. You guys are going to make mistakes as players. Parents are going to make mistakes as parents. We let it happen and we move on. If a referee decision costs us a game, it costs us a game. They're not doing it on purpose. So that's a big one. Learn and play by the laws of the game. Link there to the laws of the game. It's a big thing that you actually understand them all. They keep changing so much with the offside rule and all that kind of stuff in like the English Premier League and in the Euros and in the Olympics, that I don't fully understand the offside rule anymore, and I don't fully understand what handball is anymore in those levels. But it is pretty much the same in the level we'll be playing, where it's fairly simple and it's not quite that fine line that they have in those levels. So just make sure you learn them, make sure you understand them. If you have questions, you can definitely ask me about them ones. Practice the techniques and skills you learn at practice. Attempt to apply them in games. Again, I don't just, very, very rarely just throw a practice together based on, I think we should do this. We, I have a methodology where we work through, where we're trying to get the team to be able to play the best soccer they can play, be able to move the ball, be able to play under all circumstances. So what we do in practice should be then, you should really attempt to put it into the game at the end of practices and when we play. Never argue with the referee. I've already gone over that one. Opposition coaches is the big one for me. I lose my mind when a coach speaks to one of my players. If they get mad or get angry with one of my players. I've done it 3 or 4 times. Normally that's after one of my players has said something to the coach first. So please don't ever speak to another team's coach. If they say anything to you, come and tell me, and then I'll take it up with the other team's coach. Be a good sport, recognize all good play, whether by your team or your opponents. One of the big things that I always notice and I always see is great saves by goalkeepers on the other team. And I have no problem telling the goalkeeper on the other team if they made a great save. Again, you don't have to be, you still got to want to score. You don't want to set them up for a nice save, but at the same time, if they make a great save, they make a great save. Treat all players as you yourself would like to be treated. And remember, the aim of the game is to develop your soccer skills, ability, and health in a fun environment. So again, this is, one or two of you may go on to play on the US national team. One or two of you, several of you may go on to play at college. Hopefully all of you will play at high school. This is a game and it should be fun and it should always be treated that. And when I'm happiest and having the most fun when I'm coaching it, because it is still a game even when I'm coaching it. So that needs to be kept in mind. The treated all players as you yourself would like to be treated, parents as well. That's a rule for life. Playing style, I'll go this pretty quickly. I like to play attacking possession soccer. I like to use passing, dribbling to move the ball up the field and create scoring opportunities. Each game is different, so then we're going to try and equip the players with a range of passing, a range of different things we can do. Sometimes we're going to have to defend as a group. Sometimes we're going to have to dig in. Sometimes we can dominate the ball and try and open up gaps and squeeze players. Sometimes a wide midfielder will get the better of a defender, so we're going to ask them to go 1v1 as well. So we're going to look to play, to have all that in practice, all those strings to our bow in practice. And then again, we can set up to the game. But ideally, if we're the best team in every game, we'll play the same way, which will be moving the ball through the thirds of the field, moving it quickly, moving it well with intensity, and trying to score goals as often as we can. Defensively, this is a big part. Players need to be aggressive, strong, and intelligent to win the ball back as soon as possible. Players need to attack aerial balls and pick up the second ball. We'll work on this whenever possible and cover teammates when they're doing this. Again, for us to be able to dominate the ball, we've got to win it back. So it's really important that we focus on that as well. This is all stuff that we will work on during the practices. We'll also work on attacking and defending set pieces, so corners, free kicks, goal kicks. So everybody knows their roles and responsibilities in those situations. We'll do that fairly early on. We'll also go over it a few times just so you know where, if you're playing right back, this is where you should be on a corner. If you're playing central midfield, this is where you should be if we're setting up a wall. So I'm going to try and make it as clear as possible, make it as easy as possible, and we can always have reminders. Training, the majority of our field training will involve time with the ball. Again, I like to keep it moving. I like to keep it going quickly. I tell the players they have a 30-second break to get a drink. I like them back, touching the ball again. I really don't think that's going to be a problem with this group. I've seen you train for years as a group, and I just know that the intensity is there anyway. Again, there'll be technical activities. Then we look to increase pressure by adding numbers to create more problem solving. Most sessions will end with half field or full field structured scrimmages where we will discuss the tactical side of the sessions. So again, I have a good idea of what we're going to do for most of the sessions during the fall and how we're going to work and go from there. They may vary up. We may need to do some stuff a little bit quicker, but we have that worked out. Every session will be physically demanding as the nature of the game, and practice lengths will be tailored to ensure players get the optimal touches without burning out their bodies. Burnout's a big thing in my mind. I think you guys are all right at this age, but I have seen it maybe next year, the year after, where the amount of stuff people are doing, especially at the minute coming out of the pandemic, people want to catch up on all the stuff they haven't done, where I'm seeing people get injured when they shouldn't be getting injured and getting overuse injuries that they shouldn't necessarily be getting. So I am kind of keeping an eye on that. And if I think that's going to be an issue, I will speak to players and parents about maybe, easing off a little bit. But at the same time, we want to do as much as we can. The day before a game, we may have a short walkthrough or a lighter practice. Again, if we've got a Saturday game, we've got a technical practice on a Friday, it might be a little bit lighter. But at the same time, I want to try and help you learn something new and benefit from that. I believe my job as a coach is to get my message across in as less time than a game would be played. So 70, 80 minutes. Training beyond that period of time will become physically and mentally taxing for the players. Again, there are things where you want to kind of get players to the point of fatigue to train, but most of the time you want them fresh and working on stuff while they're not physically fatigued. And again, I'm not going to have people out there for 2 hours. I'm not, like some of the football coaches do and some of the other stuff. That's just not the way we're going to do it. We commonly use small-sided games, possession games, including directional, transitional, and to the goal, unopposed and numbers up, shadow play, 1v1s, 2v1s, etc. I try and change the sessions as much as possible, quite often to keep it fresh for myself. But it is common and necessary for us to have some repetition of the sessions as we go through. I also know that quite often the players enjoy to know what they're doing. Feel a bit more comfortable when they're doing it. So sometimes, 2 or 3 times we might be doing the same possession practice. I try not to make it boring. I try to keep it moving, but sometimes it is necessary. Formations, again, I'm going to go really quickly over this because you guys have probably had a look at this. I prefer to play, I like to play a 4-3-3 as my favorite formation. 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 forwards. To do this, it really depends on us dominating the ball. The easiest transition from what you have been playing at 9v9 is a 4-4-2. It's the easiest one to keep the ball. It's not necessarily the most attacking formation. So as we work through the first parts of the season, we'll probably try both. I don't believe that you have a formation and you fit the players into it. I believe you have the players and then you try and figure out the formation based on the players. So that's what we're going to be doing. There are various ways to play in these formation, and I choose the formation that fits the personnel the best. There's different other stuff we're going to try, and again, this is really fluid. Formations are your start positions. When you go there, they're the areas the field you're covering defensively. But really, when we have the ball, if there's space, that's what I want players to go into there and find it. Information on the 4-4-2 formation. I'm not going to read that out to you. Information on the 4-3-3. Again, 2 different ways to play in the midfield. Games, in my mind, are won and lost in midfield most of the time. So to play with 3 and kind of play a number down in there quite often, you have to have really dominant players. you could play with two central midfielders that play a little deeper and one that attacks, or one that sits deeper. If again, if we've got a dominant player in there that's just going to win everything, then we can let the two go a little bit higher up. That's what they look like. Again, attacking fullbacks is something I like, and that really helps with the 4-3-3 formation if you have attack-minded players. I quite often play some of the more attacking players at fullback because they have a bit more space out there to play, and that's really where we start with the ball. Player attributes, last bit of this I'm going to go through. I train each player as if they're central midfielder, including goalkeepers, although they require specialist training in addition, as I believe players that play in that position need to do all aspects of the game. Players in central midfield also have to have the awareness and 360 degrees around them, which is unlike any other position. So again, central midfielders need to know what's coming from behind, they need what's coming from the side. They need to know where they're going to receive the ball, where they're going to shift the ball. They can play all the way around. Certain attributes of characteristics tend to suit some players, some positions more than others. So a type of player often tends to play the same position. All coaches see players differently. So I've discussed this with John recently. So players should be able to play and understand multiple positions. I like to play players in multiple positions whenever possible, especially in practice and scrimmages. I myself played many different positions and enjoyed the challenge of playing somewhere else, but also knew that I was most effective as a central defender. Again, if you talk about type of player, I was tall, I'm fairly tall, fairly aggressive, actually very aggressive when I was playing. So I fit perfectly as a central midfielder, central defender. I lacked pace, so I actually went in and played as a number 6, a holding midfielder, which actually was a little bit better for me because I wouldn't get forwards running past me. But it was really hard to know what's going on behind you all the time when you're used to everything being in front of you and going and winning balls in the air and winning balls on the ground. So very different stuff. I have also played in goal. I have also played as a number 9. So I've played I have played as a wide midfielder as well, which was definitely a mistake. Positions in soccer are usually names, e.g. goalkeeper, fullback, and they have been assigned numbers in current coaching federations. I tend to use both. So again, goalkeeper, I'm going to call them a goalkeeper. Their number assigned to them is number 1. The holding central midfielder is, I'll sometimes call them a number 6 because that's the number assigned to them, or I call them holding midfielder. The one that I always use is number 10. Number 10 kind of explains that attacking midfielder, second forward, who really is, if you look at all the best players in world football, Messi right now, well, if you look at Paris Saint-Germain, where Messi's just gone, he wears number 10 for his country. Neymar wears number 10 for his country, and I believe Mbappe wears number 10 for his country. So they've got 3 number 10s playing at forward for them. So it's normally your flair player. I'm not going to go through all these, but as you can see, I have gone through it all, put some fancy pictures in there. While we were on the picture of Crystal Dunn, so when I do evaluations and when I'm looking at stuff, I coached Crystal Dunn for a week in a summer camp years ago when she was about 13. She was phenomenal. So when I'm looking at 13-year-olds, I'm comparing you to her. So that's a player that plays on the national team, that's played at North Carolina, that's playing professionally right now. So when I'm doing an evaluation, 10 out of 10 is Crystal Dunn. So when she was 13. So if you're not getting 10 out of 10, or if you are getting 10 out of 10, means you're pretty special. Anywhere between 7 and 10 is a good mark. So I am a pretty hard marker on the evaluations, more so than most coaches, I think, because again, that's in my mind. I'm comparing you with the top players at 13, 12 and 13. So just for you to know that, I will reiterate that as well when I send evaluations out. Again, you can run through that. I don't want to take your time. Quotes to live by: excuses are like losses. Everybody has them except the champions. No longer champions, the US women, but again, it's a great one. The core purpose of a coach's job is to make others great. So as much as possible, I want to be seen as little as possible. I want to really say how great all the players are. Then if that's the case, that means I'm doing my job right. Activate the best in others. Again, that's one of my aims. I want to try and get the best out of everybody as much as possible, including parents. But you know, the players, really, I want you to be the best you can possibly be. It's important to keep reiterating that. This is my favorite one. This is I've got this all over. But the vision of a champion is bent over, drenched in sweat at the point of exhaustion when nobody else is looking. We can all do it when somebody's watching us. We can all do it when there's a microscope on us. But who's the ones that are running up and down the driveway? Who are the ones that are kicking a ball against the wall and getting dragged in because it's getting dark? Who are the ones that are doing that extra little bit? So again, those are the ones that will go the furthest. And I know that it's not just natural talent. Again, some of the most naturally talented players are also some of the hardest working ones. So that's it on the presentation. And again, I sent it as a PDF so you can go through all those positions. But now open up the questions for you. And again, I went longer than I wanted to there, so I apologize. So if you have questions, just unmute, shout it out. Nobody? Done a really good job presenting if no one's got a question.
I have a question.
Oh, there we go. Not such a good
Sorry, Zoe can't be here, but she's gonna be recording it for her IC, so I'll make sure she goes over this and reads it all. Who is the goalie?
The goalie, is she on? No, she's not on.
Okay.
But it is the Marseille goalie. Mike, you might have to remind me of her name because I can't remember her name fully.
It's Lavely.
Lavely.
There we go, Lavely. Sorry, I'm sorry, Lavely, when you watch this. But yeah, she did really well as the goalkeeper for Marseille last year, and Coach Jonah really recommended that she's ready to step up. We had a good conversation about that one.
All right, great. And the other question I have is, it seems like we'll play one game per weekend.
Most weekends.
As a club.
It is, yeah.
Do you think it's going to vary between Saturday and Sunday?
Majority is going to be Sunday.
Okay.
Mostly based on my high school schedule is nearly all Saturday games. So we'll try and do it. Maybe some away games that will be Saturday, which we'll have to figure out. But for the fall, that'll be the case. In the spring, we'll try and keep it Sundays as well to keep it consistent. Obviously, I won't have the high school conflict there.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
When will we get the schedule?
For games?
Yeah.
They haven't sent it to me to schedule them yet. They normally come either the end of this week or the start of next week. So they send me the whole block of schedule it, and I'll bang it out then. If you have special requests, you can let me know as soon as possible because I'll do our scheduling first, basically, because we're doing the team-based stuff.
Do you know when the fall season might end? Just because around Thanksgiving is a travel time for us. I was just curious.
Yeah, so the practice schedule ends on the 14th or 15th, whichever one that last day is. The season should be done by then. If it's going on then, it's because of rain days or snow and and stuff like that. So as soon as I get it, I'll get it done. And again, I do all the scheduling. So if you have questions, just shoot to me. If I've made a mistake, which I make many of, I can definitely help out with schedule as much as I can. Any others? All right, we've got 9 minutes left, so we can finish it there. If we can finish it in half an hour, that was incredible. Obviously, you all should have my email at this point. You should all feel comfortable coming to me with questions, complaints. I'd rather hear it than hear somebody else talking to another parent. Any problems? I feel like I'm a fairly open-minded person. I do know from the way I look that I can be a little bit intimidating for some of the kids sometimes, but I think once they get to know me, I'm not particularly intimidating. But if there's any problems, again, don't hesitate, get onto me quickly, and we can set up a chance to have a chat and make sure that everybody's happy. Again, the biggest aim here is that people are comfortable playing the best soccer they can possibly play. All right. Wonderful. I'm going to go have some dinner then. All right. Thank you very much for your time. And I will send this out again for the people that haven't got to see it. And yeah, I really appreciate your time. We'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.